auto con la familia? ¿A quién no le gusta eso? En busca de nuevas aventuras y sin preocupaciones. Porque sabes que en tu camino hay una estación Chevron, con gasolina Chevron con Tecron para un millaje insuperable y snacks para todos. Un cafecito para mamá, dulces para los niños y escuchar "ya llegamos" 1000 veces y contestar casi 1000 veces más. Y siempre creando recuerdos con cada milla.
Este mes celebramos a los miembros All Rewards en O'Reilly Auto Parts, donde podrás obtener puntos dobles, triples o más. Obtén puntos extras All Rewards en más de 200 productos como limpia parabrisas, limpiadores de sistema de combustible, aceites y más. Realiza tus compras en tu tienda O'Reilly Auto Parts más cercana o en O'ReillyAuto.com.
Get started. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol GTX and an STP oil filter, plus an STP air filter or cabin air filter for just $34.99. And you can get it all fast, your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery. Start your job today at AutoZone.com.
So a friend told me about Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and his exact words were, "It changed my life. I used to spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub. It's like seriously magic, and my secret weapon for cleaning the kitchen, bathroom, doors, and walls, and even keeping my sneakers clean. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. Greatest invention ever."
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, the unicorn of cleaning.
Hitting the gym, avoiding stress. But a good night's rest helps boost your overall health and wellness. And it couldn't be easier. The new Sleep Number 360 smart bed senses and automatically adjusts to keep you both effortlessly comfortable. The result? You wake up ready for anything. Proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. It's the biggest sale of the year where all smart beds are on sale. Save 50% on the new Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed, only for a limited time. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
Say you have a 3.25% mortgage with 27 years left. Today, owning will roll your balance and term down to a 27-year loan with a 2.625% APR. The result? A lower payment with the same number of payments left. So roll it down with owning. No balance or term increase, just a payment decrease. That's a great mortgage tip. Call 8332-OWNING to roll down your mortgage payment.
NMLS 2611, licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. Subject to credit approval. Call 833-5264-64 for terms and conditions. Equal housing lender.
That's 8332-OWNING or owning.com.
And are required to get expensive and hard-to-find SR22 auto insurance, then you must listen to this message because Serenity can help. We're the largest insurance company in the U.S., specializing in SR22 auto insurance and focused on serving the needs of customers classified by the state as high-risk drivers. We help people get back on their feet by providing easy-to-get, low-cost SR22 insurance that anyone can afford. If you need SR22 auto insurance, or if you have it now and are paying too much, you need to call us today for your free quote at 800-279-7816. Our specialists are standing by waiting for your call. We understand people make mistakes, and we're here to help by making SR22 insurance easy to get and affordable for everyone. The call and quote are free. Call us now at 800-279-7816. That's 800-279-7816. Again, 800-279-7816. We don't think so. RexMD has FDA-approved generic Viagra medication of that little blue pill starting at just $2. Why pay huge pharmacy prices when you can get the same results for a fraction of the cost? Give your bank account a break. Just fill out a brief survey, and if appropriate, you'll get a starter pack prescription of industry-leading generic Viagra medication. Just call 800-214-2961. We've helped over 100,000 men with their sex lives, and with getting prescription medications direct. Your consultation is free, there's no doctor office visits, and your shipping is always free. Get your starter pack now. Call 800-214-2961. That's 800-214-2961. Again, 800-214-2961.
Made with clinically studied plant-based ingredients to help promote better restorative sleep. Sleep this good, feel this good.
And paid for by Omega. And you probably didn't get bumper-to-bumper coverage or maintenance included. So what are you actually paying for? What if we told you that you could get all these benefits and more for 40% less per month than what the other guys are charging? In these hard economic times, we have auto insurance for accidents, but when unexpected repair bills hit, our biggest expenses can be our cars. So why overpay for an auto warranty? If you own a car, truck, or SUV made from 2000 to today, you can stop paying for covered repairs. That's right, bumper-to-bumper coverage with maintenance included. Call now to find out if your car qualifies. 800-973-2940. Already have an auto warranty? No problem. Call us and we'll help you save instantly. Call today to get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. And ask about our free roadside assistance. 800-973-2940.
It's O Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts, where you can earn double, triple, even up to 5 times O Rewards points on select purchases. Get bonus points on more than 200 items throughout the store, like wiper blades, fuel system cleaners, motor oil, and more. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton at Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And a lot of good old boys all across the country. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond, in London, England, as well as Paris, France, of course. We love you in Canada and Africa, the Big C tribe. But there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south and all around the world, in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Today is a beautiful August the 26th, 2021. I said it slower for some of my people that say I talk too fast. They say I talk way too fast. I think sometimes they listen way too slow. I want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. You go by and test drive yours, tell Charlton and Big C sent you, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars also all around the world. Just see Google or Alexa play Big C Sports Podcast. You will hear from our sponsors. You will hear welcome to the show. I will introduce myself as a sports universe, and I really do appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports on Spotify. You can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. But you better have a smart TV, or you'll be sitting there looking at a still picture. Man, I love pausing, but I'll never pause on our Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help, and I really appreciate that. If you know any veterans going through any issues, simply pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255, and get our veterans some help. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and you will definitely get some help for our veterans and their loved ones. Also very happy to be affiliated with Valley, home with weekly TV on Dish TV, DirecTV, AT&T Uverse, TV of the first place San Francisco Giants, and the Say Hey Kid, as well as a home run King Barry Bonds. When you reach out to them, just tell them you know the scroll right now. Charlton wins World Series tickets, all's fair and love and war. And at the same time, our goal is simple. Just tell them Big C sent you. We want to recruit 10,000 real estate agents and brokers all over this great country, helping to put people back to work, just like McDonald's does it. Car dealerships do it. Sports teams are doing it. Watch TV and real estate work for you. 800-772-8624. If you're looking for opportunities in real estate, go to bigcsports.pacwm.com. Most of our loans are underwritten by Rocket Mortgage and United Wholesale Mortgage, the #1 and 2 lender in the country on the wholesale side. Also, all around the world, I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Effect TV and Comcast Spotlight for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3. People say, what is Genesis 1:3? That's the Bible for some people. God said, let there be light. Open your cell phone and say, play Big C Sports Podcast. You will see our apps pop up all over the world. And I really do appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. Also, I want to just say, today's show is sponsored by your Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% honest game. It's all fair and love and war. It goes great with that Big C burger. It is a tasty burger. And again, some people don't know what the Big C burger is. If you ever watched Pulp Fiction about 2 decades ago, Sam Jackson, John Travolta, Bruce Willis, Uma Thurman, written and produced by the great Quentin Tarantino. Before they shot this guy to get his hamburger, Sam Jackson ate the hamburger and said, "Man, what's all these exotic meats? It's a tasty burger." They cut that part out of the scene, but he said, "This is a tasty burger." They didn't say the exotic meats, but he said, "What's all these exotic meats?" That part didn't make the cut, and that goes great with Big C Sports Podcast. It's all fair and love and war, man. Today is a happy Thursday. A lot of good things happening in the sports universe. A lot of kids getting ready, going back to college, and they're getting ready to have all of the good things that happen when you go off to college. Of course, you wash your hands before you do anything. You know, you wash your hands all the time. You always make sure you know who's in your environment. Say no to drugs. What did Jesse Jackson say? Up with hope and then down with dope. You don't want to let anybody bring dope into your life. There's an Olympic runner, all because, you know, she's lost her cool, and whatever people have going on in their lives, there were some people that gave her the dope. They gave her the marijuana, and it knocked her out of the Olympics. Those people didn't run the Olympics for her. They didn't give her a gold medal either. All they did was supply her with the dope. And as she screwed up her life, none of those people are around to give her the tens of millions of dollars that she lost by not having the sponsorship. All's fair in love and war. Sometimes the crowd is cheering, and sometimes the crowd is not cheering. But you got to make sure you don't let people do anything to jettison your career. Everybody has their own opinion. I don't want to be like the guy that says, "Get off my lawn." But I've seen a lot of people destroy their own lives when they could not pass a drug test. And the people that gave them the drugs, nowhere to be found. All's fair in love and war. Just keep that in mind. NFL news today, quarterback Ryan Tannehill among 9 from the Tennessee Titans to test positive for COVID-19, some sources say. Now, if he tests positive for COVID-19, obviously that means he has to go through the NFL protocol, and everybody has to figure out how they get through that protocol so they can keep playing the games. At the same time, he's the one that's being put on the shelf because of it. I mean, everybody has their own thoughts. I have my COVID vaccine today, and I did the Pfizer, and I did it because I talked to my doctor, and he said that most people, it's a safe vaccine, and people that they find checking into hospitals, they're the ones who haven't had a vaccine. I've never been sick in my life, but I decided through a lot of prayer, and also talking to my doctor, I decided to get the COVID vaccine. So all's fair in love and war. You know, everybody has their own thoughts about it. Buffalo Bills receiver Isaiah McKenzie, Cole Beasley, fined for COVID-19 protocol violations. They decided they didn't want to take it for whatever reason. I think there's Pfizer, there's Moderna, and there's Johnson & Johnson. So everybody has their own opinion about which ones they should take. It's a personal choice. There's also a story about a lady, a nurse, that is being told if she does not take the vaccine, she's going to lose her employment. I think that's crazy because she was dealing with COVID patients and she was able to save a lot of lives. But now she's being threatened with her own loss of employment. And I don't know if that's, I mean, that to me, that's just not cool. But everybody has their own opinion. And then if you have more NFL news, NFL proposes testing vaccinated players every 7 days amid COVID-19 surge in the NFL Players Association. They want the daily testing. So that's, again, everybody has to go to their own doctors and figure out what they're going to do. Cam Newton, New England Patriots quarterback, returns to New England practice from COVID-19 protocol and did not violate team rules, Coach Bill Belichick says. But obviously, it's a tough thing. I was talking about getting media credentials for all the 32 NFL teams, and you have to show proof of your COVID vaccination. That's also a part of the reason that I did mine too. They're not letting people in if you don't show that you have some proof of COVID vaccine. So I wish that everybody would just keep in mind you got to do what you got to do. At the same time, if you have to do it for work, you got to choose. Do you want a paycheck or do you want to just stand on whatever belief you have? All's fair in love and war. We're going to take what's called the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we're back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio podcast. Really appreciate the way things are going with Big C Sports Podcast. Everybody has their own opinion. I want to share some things before I talk about some football and some baseball also. I want to give a little bit of college advice that I heard when I was a young man, and I didn't really pay attention to it, but it's more evident now. Today's age, people are going to come at you, and they're going to offer you opportunities to get invested into different things. I'm going to talk about that too. I want to make sure that people pay attention to that. We'll bring that up in just about a few minutes. But I want to just say Big C Sports Podcast, SB nominated Big C Sports Podcast. Really appreciate that. And the reason SB nominated, as we say, let's get ready to rumble! All for another war. SB nominated. No scripts. Again, I have no scripts. People say, yeah, Charles, and that's obvious. I have no producer. I do it on my own. Number 3, I have no research crew. I do my own research along with my son Malcolm that sends me in stats, and sometimes my daughter Daisy. And there are times that Big C has done things in the past. But number 1, the reason SB nominated, and people can do this on their own, just try to do a show, get rid of teleprompters, get rid of all the script writers, get rid of that producer in your ear. Number 1, Big C Sports Podcast, I produce. Number 2, I direct topics. Number 3, I broadcast the shows. Number 4, I do all of the sound effects. What's those exotic meats? I do number 5, I do the commercials. Number 6, I provide all the stats that I talk about. Number 7, I do all the storytelling. Number 8, I even quote Bible verses in my program. Number 9, and then I upload every show to 15 different podcast platforms all over the world. That's 15. And then also after that, I upload to 4 different TV platforms all over the world. That's a lot of information. That's 19 different platforms all over the world that comes out of Big C Sports Podcast. So I really appreciate bringing that to you. Everybody says they can do a different show by their own, but all I say is just go out and do it. Also, Big C Sports Podcast is the only sports podcast in the universe that pays homage to God. In Genesis 13:15, God said, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and to thy seed forever. Also, what I tell every college kid, the book of James, chapter 4, verse 2, we have not because we ask not. So just ask. All you can do is get a yes or a no if you ask. That's why I say Big C Sports Podcast is number 1 in the sports podcast universe. I do it all on my own. For anyone that wants to challenge that, just get on that bucking bronco, get on that bucking bull, and try not to get bucked off. But you got to do it by yourself. You can't have other people holding your hand. People might say, oh, that's easy. Okay, do it. I do it all over the world. If I mess up, it's very evident. And sometimes it's been very evident. It's all for another word. But I want to say, I was propositioned today. People say, ooh, he was propositioned. Ooh, I'm going to tell. But I was propositioned about a business money-making opportunity. And that business money-making opportunity, I want people to keep in mind, especially college kids, suggest making for young people about sending money or any amounts of money to strangers upon that stranger's request. That's a red flag. Make sure you get it in writing, just like Judge Walton said, get things in writing. Some people will forge your name and embezzle anyway, but get it in writing for the court to see when you want to get your money back. You want to make sure you invest in a legitimate business. In a legitimate business, they will send you what's called a summary or a prospectus in writing so your lawyers can look at it. You got to make sure you do that too. You got to get legal proof that the business is real. You can Google it. Just like anywhere in the world, you can Google Big C Sports Podcast. It's not hidden in the dark. Like Genesis 1:3, God said, let Big C Sports be the light. Shine light on what you're doing. So this business person said, I can just Venmo or Cash App the money. I work in mortgages almost 25 years. No mortgage does a Cash App. It all goes through escrow. And when you send money from escrow, it has to have a notary, an ID, a thumbprint, and a third-party, non-interested party. You don't just wire tens of thousands of dollars to someone's Cash App because a stranger says they're going to help you make money. So keep that in mind. The best time not to get in trouble is before you get in trouble. And that was presented to me today, and I'm in banking. And when I told the person, send me over a contract for what you're talking about, that's when the person panicked and said, well, it's based on trust. Ain't no business based on trust. It's all in writing. Your birth certificate, that's in writing. It's not based on trust. Everything you do is in writing. For you kids going back to school, you have to sign a contract with that university. You got to also maintain a certain GPA. You don't just get to go because you want to go. You got to sign a contract. Everything's about contracts. Don't let anyone bamboozle you out of money because they say, I trust you or you can trust me. Never fall for that garbage. I want to focus on a little pivot in the world of sports. The great Roger Federer's biggest legacy, it might be his $1 billion brand. I told you, I'm manifesting $6 billion. At the same time, everyone needs an arc in their life. And with an arc, you can manifest $6 billion. Noah did it from the flood. I want to turn Big C Sports Podcast into a $1 billion industry. If you Google Title VII, every minority business has a right to participate in television revenue that most times we're excluded from. But other tennis superstars have built sponsorship empires, but none have ever wooed the corporate class as brilliantly as Roger Federer. When you think about it, it was moving day in California in the desert down there in Southern California, and Federer was up before dawn. And he talked about some things that he'd done at Indian Wells, as a good, beautiful tennis facility in Southern California. He had lost the day before the final in the 2018 BNP Paribas Open to Juan Martin del Porto, just previous months. Now, Federer had capped his remarkable late career surge by reclaiming the #1 ranking in the universe. When you think about what he did as the #1 ranking in the universe, it's important because for the first time in more than 5 years, he was 36 years old. He was the oldest player to hold the spot since the ATP published its first ranking in 1973. A lot of people weren't born in 1973. But Indian Wells was a rather disappointing sequel. He served for the title against Del Porto at 5-4 in the third set. When you think about what he did in the third set, failed to finish him off despite holding 3 match points. So the point is about Federer, as everybody wants you to Venmo them some money through their Cash App, and if you know the person, you choose what you want to do. But a stranger telling you if you want to go to some event in media, you go for free, saying send me some money and I'll let you get in. All I said is send me a contract so I can know who I'm dealing with. And I'm told, oh no, we don't do things by contract, we do everything by trust. Well, trust is not enough, you gotta have it in writing, especially when it comes to business. But think about this. More than 20 times over 2 decades, he's been interviewed by several reporters. New York Times, the International Herald Tribune, and meetings have taken place everywhere from the backcourt at Wimbledon in England to the backseat of a chauffeured car in Buenos Aires. From Times Square, New York City, to Lake Zurich in Paris. I mean, think about where he's been all over the world playing tennis. But traveling on a team plane or a private jet, you got to realize what this gentleman has done. Federer, and you can Google, I'm not going to get into all of his business because that's his personal business, but he is a marketing genius, and he's marketed himself as one of the greatest tennis players in the history of the universe. A lot of people want to think they're going to make all their money from just playing the sport. And think about what he's done. He's learned to market himself the same way I'm marketing Big C Sports Podcast all over the universe. That's important when I say God said, let there be light. And you see it pop up. I'm going to mention a couple of names. Now, Federer has the means at this stage in his career to reduce a great deal of friction. He was only, think about one of the greatest tennis players ever, on his way to becoming one of the few athletes in history to earn $1 billion during his playing career. And that's a milestone he reportedly surpassed this year, joining Tiger Woods, Floyd Money Mayweather, the great LeBron James, also Cristiano Ronaldo, which is supposed to be one of the highest, paid athletes in the world in soccer. Lionel Messi. Federer, 2 decades of on-court achievements only began to the account for that stunning total. About $130 million of Federer's earnings has come from official prize money. Nearly $1 billion. Only $130 million has come from prize money. And people say they want to be a professional athlete. You got to be a professional marketer. A figure that puts him second on the all-time list to the great tennis star Novak Djokovic at $152 million. The rest has come through sponsorship. That's a clue. That's why Big C Sports says, I'm asking every sponsor, I'm simply looking for $10 million. That's not a lot of money in the world of sponsorship, but $10 million for a person as one black man that's brilliant, and some people even say intelligent. Okay? Some people even say erudite. I'll take that too. But for one person to produce a show by himself that goes all over the world 5 days a week, and it's uploaded to 15 podcast platforms and 4 television platforms. To do it all on my own. There's some TV shows, they only have announcers do one thing, and that's just talk. And they're making between $1 million and $10 million a year. I'm doing like 15 different things, and that's why I'm asking for the $10 million. It's easy. The rest has come through sponsorship and endorsement appearances and fees at tournaments and lucrative exhibition events around the world. That's why Big C Sports goes all over the world. There are some people that are broadcasting a show and they only go to their own area or their own state. My show is heard on every continent on the planet Earth, and that's one black man flying around the universe. If you think it's easy, I challenge any of your broadcasters that are well known to do what I'm doing. Produce this show, direct the show, do the broadcasting, the sound bites, the commercials, the script telling, do your stats, do your storytelling, do your research, do all of that on your own. And then quote Bible scriptures, whatever it is. I've never missed a show since September 12, 2015. Not one time have I missed a show. I've never missed a show in some of the toughest days of my life. That's why I'm worth the $10 million, because other people get it and they're not doing half of what I'm doing. And to me, in my opinion, the show is no better than mine or not as good. So Federer's performance in his domain has been every bit as impressive as his performance on the court, perhaps even more so. I'm telling young people, there's a lot of smart people that have made millions of dollars in technology. They've done it, not with the sweat of their brow, not pulling hamstrings, not having CTE. You just keep that in mind. Sponsorships that I want to sponsor Big C Sports all over the world. And endorsements tend to be easier to acquire if a podcaster or a tennis star or an athlete comes from a major market like the United States of America. Big C Sports comes out of the United States of America. The agency's in New York City. I'm out of the San Francisco, Northern California Bay Area. It comes out of Britain. Or it comes out of France. All those countries carry Big C Sports podcasts. But because Federer hails from Switzerland, a wealthy place to be sure, also with one, think about it, one with a population of only about 8.6 million people. California alone has over 40 million people. The United States alone has over about 350 million people, according to census counts. And I know some guys weren't counting because they've been hiding. I know some guys that they hide when ice shows up. You know, there are a lot of California farmers, they understand what I'm saying. They hide because the ice shows up. They don't want to be counting the census. There's probably more than 50 million people in California alone. And you guys know that's true. All fair and level. I want to make this point because Big C Sports, just like Bob Johnson built BET into $1 billion company, because of Title VII, every African American should Google Title VII. Big C Sports also become a $1 billion corporation. That's important. When you think about the appeal to sponsors in the beginning of a career like Federer, when you're a Swiss, you represent a small country. Federer, his first agent, talked about how to make serious money being in a small country. California, again, 40 to 50 million people. United States, over 350 million people. I want to say this one more thing before I come up on the pause. I'm talking to you sponsors because it's $1 billion business. And I'm asking for the money. Remember, I told you, Book of James 4:2, you have not because we ask not. I've already asked God for that money, and I'm asking sponsors too. At the point where it's not even a $1 billion empire, you know, soon becoming, that's what I'm going to become. And there are so many people that talked about the U.S. Open by informing him that he was leaving the sports management. It's a giant called IMG. They do management in circumstances so contentious that people could not even explain them. But think about this, and I'll say this and I'll close before the Big C pause. You look at contracts and sponsorships, like with Nike Corporation, an average value of $100,000 a year, not a lot of money. That was expiring with negotiations still ongoing, but the tennis star refused to accept the renewal offer from the company that he felt was too low, and being unable to find a competing sponsor to step in. That's why Big C Sports is asking for $10 million in sponsorship. If you look at all over the world, and some people getting several $1 million, and they only have a United States market. I want that to be known to every sponsor. You know who we are, 800-772-8624, and it's all fair and love and war. Nobody can say that you can do something if you don't try it. I do everything. I'm working on vacation. My vacation is really over starting next week in September. But I'm doing my show even on vacation. Not everybody can say that, and that's what I say, Big C Sports Podcast will become a $1 billion corporation. Google Title 7, it's all fair and love and war. I'm going to take what's called the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. As my beautiful mama always says, rise and shine. And the former great governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, says, I'll be back. All right, we're back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio Podcast. You can follow Big C Sports on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Hubhopper. You can follow Big C Sports on LinkedIn Podcast. You can follow us on Podbean. You can follow us on so many applications. All you got to do is Spreaker. You can just pick them up. Just Google the name. Just Google the name, and you'll see where we are all over the world. And that's at least worth $10 million to sponsors because we're worldwide, not just a local spot in California or New York City. I want to go to today's beautiful baseball schedule. It is a beautiful August the 26th. Everybody loves baseball. We are getting into the thick of things, and I love baseball. Crowds are going nuts. We're going to fly to the beautiful city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they'll take it on the St. Louis Cardinals. We have runners on first and second. The pitch hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. It's all fair and love and war. Even ESPN is playing hit deep, right field, back to the wall. Where do you think they heard that first? Big C Sports did that. That's why I'm saying that multi-million dollar, $10 million contract is right there. 800-772-8624. Look at the mountain. I'm going to keep all of my prop betting people happy, so I keep all my fingers. I love keeping my fingers so I can eat that Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with a lot of exotic meats. I love the Big C burger. On the mound for Pittsburgh, Mitch Keller. Keep in mind, Mitch Keller in this game. Also, at bat, Nolan Arenado. Keep that in mind for the St. Louis. And I just want people, that's all I'm allowed to say for my prop betting friends. Because again, I want to keep all of my fingers, not just 2 or 3 of them, all fair and level war. I'm going to fly into the beautiful city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Everybody loves Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful place to go. And I love the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's a great place to go. All fair and love and war. Now, if you think about Philadelphia, they're right there where they can do some things. We don't know if they'll get it done or not, but they're taking on Arizona, flying into International Airport, Philadelphia. We have runners on first and third. The pitch hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. If you remember the movie Rocky where Sylvester Stallone was going, Adrian. Well, he was also running the steps. That's why he was Adrian. He was out of breath, but he was running the steps in Philadelphia. But I want to just keep this in mind. Arizona Diamondbacks in Philadelphia. On the mound, Zach Gallen pitching for Arizona. And then keep in mind also for the Phillies, Matt Moore. So those are names I'm able to give you because I want to keep all my fingers, like I've already told you, all spread level work. Gonna fly out of the city of Philadelphia. Gonna fly over to the beautiful city of New York at LaGuardia. Don't want to go to Kennedy. I think I've already told the story. I had some luggage taken, lost, misplaced, whatever it was at Kennedy Airport. And I had 12 Big C burgers inside my luggage. How do I know? Because I counted all of them. Well, my luggage was found, but they said they could not find the burgers, and they could not confirm or deny if there was ever any Big C burgers in the luggage. I know because there were 12 stains from all the grease in those burgers. I know it's a tasty burger, and it comes with exotic meats, but it looks a little greasy. So anyway, they denied there were any burgers inside, but they did give me the luggage back. So now I fly into LaGuardia. Going to fly into LaGuardia with the San Francisco Giants and the best team in baseball. I really love the World Series tickets they're going to give me at Oracle Ballpark in San Francisco. And pitching on the mound for the Giants, pay attention to Alex Wood. He's a good boy. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger, a flamethrower. And then at bat for the Mets, when you hear about Francisco Lindor, okay, those are 2 names I'm able to give you from my prop betting specialist. And again, I still have all my fingers, so I know I'm doing something right, unlike other things in life that I'm not doing as well. That makes sense to you. All fair and love and war. I'm going to fly out of the beautiful city of Manhattan, New York City, Gonna fly into beautiful Miami, Florida. Bienvenido a Miami. I love Miami International Airport. And I love when I'm hanging out on the beaches in Miami, except for when they have lightning storms. I don't like the lightning storms, but I do like the fact that you don't have to have any bikini. In fact, you can go naked in Miami, and you don't even stand out. I love Miami. It's a great place to go. We have runners on first and second. The pitch, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. I love the city of Miami. I wish they would have that dome taken off that stadium. People go to Miami to get suntans, not to sit in the shade inside. Even though it's humid, it's a great place if they let the sun shine in. Let the sun shine in, the sun shine in. People say, man, you suck. Stick the podcast not singing. I'm not asking for $10 million for singing. I'm asking for $10 million for podcast. You guys know what time it is. So the Miami Marlins, they're having their issues. Washington Nationals. My prop betting friends say when it comes to pitching, there's Eliza Hernandez. That's the only name I can give you. And then at bat is Lewis Brinson. Those are the only prop betting that I'm able to give out because I had somebody breathing down my neck last time I gave out too much information. I got a phone call. Hey, Charlton, what's all these exotic beats? Okay, at the same time, could talk about all these exotic players. I can only give out certain players. Gonna fly out of Miami International. Gonna fly up the East Coast to the city of Boston, Logan International Airport, beautiful Fenway Park, home of the Green Monster. I love that rustic ballpark. It's the oldest ballpark with the oldest smelling urine in any ballpark in the United States. Maybe Wrigley Field, but the urine at Fenway Park, my goodness, bring your own nose spray. I mean, it's all fair level war. Some guys like that. It's an intimidating thing. All fair in level war. Boston taking on the Minnesota Twins. Boston slipping a little bit. They're starting to get some heat put on them by the New York Yankees, as I said they would, even though I like Boston. But you never know. I mean, people are catching up to what's going on in baseball. But we have runners on first and third. The pitch, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. When you clear the Green Monster in Boston at beautiful Fenway Park, you know you hit that ball. Hit deep, all square and level work. I can only tell you pitching on the mound. Pay attention to John Grant. Okay, John Grant, keeping him in mind. And then J.D. Martinez, that's a good old boy. He can do his thing. And then there's another name I can give you. It's Kyle Schwarber. Keep that in mind. Now we're going to fly out of Boston, home of the Dunkin'. I think they have Dunkin' Donuts in Boston. I think when I was in Boston, all I could have, I found Dunkin' Donuts. I don't think I even found any Starbucks. We need to have some Big C bucks. How about Big C coffee? Coffee starts with a C. Big C Sports starts with a C. You know, C Sports, C Coffee. You see more when the sun shines. Let the sun shine in. All fair and level war. A little bit flip of the day. All's fair and level war. Gonna fly into Cleveland. This for you, the great LeBron James. Now, Cleveland is hosting the Texas Rangers. That means they're probably going to get a win. It's all fair level war. But fly to Cleveland, runners on first and third, and I don't see any signs of them burning LeBron James jersey, so we're fair for takeoff. The pitch, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends. All fair and level war in the beautiful city of Cleveland. I gotta also say that in Cleveland, pay attention on the mound. When Texas is pitching, the great Jordan Lyles, he can do his thing. Sometimes he's a gunslinger, and sometimes he's not. And then at bat, Ahmed Rosario, and I can give you DJ Peters. That's what my prop betting friends say I can give because I want to keep my finger, and I need all of them. As slow as I type, I need all my fingers to type. I can't just use 2 or 3 fingers. I gotta use all of them. All friend level work. Gotta fly out of the beautiful city of Cleveland, like LeBron James did. This for you. He flew out of Cleveland. He flew into LAX, but we're going to go a little bit south of LAX. If you did not see the game last night between the Dodgers and the Padres, it's because you were asleep like me. I turned off the TV at about 1 o'clock. I went to sleep. I woke up and heard that there was a pitch. Hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. What a baseball game between the Dodgers and the Padres in the National League West. If you don't like that, you don't like Major League Baseball's all fair level war. The Dodgers are 80-47 on the season. They're 38-26 on the road. The Padres are 68-60 on the season, and they're 41-28 at home. And this went into extra innings. I've always thought that Maffers have put in. You get one chance to win in extra innings. 9 innings is enough. Decided in 10 or have a tie, so you can save the bats and the pitchers of these teams. If you don't have a strong rotation, it might hurt teams. But the Dodgers have a strong rotation, and the Padres are a good team. But baseball goes too long, and when you go that far into the night, not good for the athlete's health. Just my opinion. But I'm going to go down to beautiful Petco Field in San Diego. Runners on first and third. The pitch. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. I got to tell you, there's some great pitching in San Diego. Yu Darvish, the home pitcher, he's only 7-7 on the season, but he has a 3.70 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi. But not so fast, my friend, the great Lee Corso, that we'll hear him on College Countdown. I love the great Lee Corso, played football at Florida State. I think he was on the same football team with the late Bert Cruz from one of my favorite movies, Smokey and the Bandit, who said, "You all sound a lot taller on the radio." All's fair in love and war. The great Max Scherzer, he's 11-4. He has a 2.65 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger. He was trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi. When you got two starting pitchers with an ERA of 3.70 and also 2.65 ERA, that's a delight. I mean, the game went extra innings last night, and there are times when you thought it would have been regulation game, but the pitching's so good, people getting struck out. Struck, please, struck them out. All fair level war. Love that series between the Dodgers and the Padres. All fair level war in that beautiful ballpark, Petco Field in San Diego, downtown San Diego. Going to fly out of San Diego into the beautiful East Bay of Oakland, California. The Yankees come to town, and this is a game and a series that the A's got to get. But the Yankees have been one of the hottest teams in baseball. Runners on first and third. The pitch. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. The Yankees and the A's, they both are such solid programs. The Yankees have a huge payroll. The A's do not have a huge payroll, but they compete with them. Overall, the Yankees are 74-52. They are 35-27 away. The A's, they are 70-57. They are 35-29 at home. So they're pretty equally matched. I don't know who's going to win this series. On the mound for the Yankees coming in town, Jameson Taillon is 8-4. He has a 3.94 ERA. So he's a gunslinger. He's a Jedi Knight trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi. When you look at the home pitcher, James Kaprielian, he's 7-4, and he's a 3.25 ERA. So he's a gunslinger. Also a Jedi Knight trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's a series that the Oakland A's got to win. Got to win it. They got to get that win. Flying out of Oakland International Airport, beautiful city of Oakland, right there, the East Bay, San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area. Going to fly up north on the west coast of the Pacific Rim and to the beautiful city of Seattle, Washington. They're going to fly into SeaTac International, that's Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. The Kansas City Royals will fly in. They are 24-39 away, 56-70 overall. And the Mariners are 69-58 overall and 37-25 at home. You would think it'd be a win for the Mariners. The away pitcher for Kansas City is Brad Keller. He is 8-12 on the season, only a 5.43 ERA. Nothing to write home about. But you'll see Culci is 7-7 for the home team Mariners. He has a 4.22 ERA. Not quite a Jedi Knight, but he's still down there in the forest. So I really like him. Looking for Seattle to get that win. It's all fair in love and war. This last segment is also sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, but it's 100% on its game, and it goes great with the Big T Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with all these exotic meats. The great Sam Jackson, all fair and love and war. Gonna fly out of SeaTac Airport before Seattle, Washington, into Baltimore, Maryland. The Baltimore Orioles, man, sometimes you deserve a break today. So get up and get away. Follow Big C Sports Podcast, all fair and love and war. We're going to fly into Baltimore, and the Angels of Anaheim are coming in. The last outing by the great Shohei Ohtani, It was more like normal. He got rocked, but I want to rock with you all night. The great Michael Jackson. You can boo me for trying to sound like Michael Jackson. Boo! But remember the song, I want to rock with you all night, dance you in today. Okay, I got to give up. I'll give it up. Like Marvin Gaye said, you got to give it up. I got to give it up. Can't sing like the great Michael Jackson. But could you imagine Michael Jackson doing play-by-play? Runners on first and third. The pitch hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. All right. I don't know what they put that COVID vaccine, but I've been living off the wall ever since I had it, living off the wall. So it's all fair and level work. He said it would make me a little bit loopy. I said I was already loopy when I came to the doctor's office. All fair and level work. On the mound, Elvis for girls. Keep that in mind for the Angels. And then for Baltimore, Keegan Aiken. Those good old boys did their thing today on the mound. One got a little bit living off the wall more than the other. Living off the wall. I'm going to do one more Michael Jackson, living off the wall, play-by-play broadcast because I love the great Michael Jackson. I'm going to say flying into Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We have Milwaukee, which is a good team. And the Cincinnati Reds game already got done. I'm going to do my best Michael Jackson impersonation. Flying into Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Cincinnati Reds, and we have runners on first and third. The pitch hit deep. Right field, Tito. Back to the wall. Living off the wall. Home run. Okay. I tell you, I took my COVID shot. I still deserve to be Espy's nominated. You try to do a Michael Jackson play-by-play. I challenge anybody to do it. Living off the wall. He would say, that ball is cleared the wall. It's all freaking love of war. Blame it on the COVID. Blame it on the COVID. I don't drink in daytime. Man, he said I may have some reactions. I think I'm having them on the Big C Sports podcast, but I have no producer, no teleprompter, nobody in my ear telling me what to say. And you're saying, yes, that's obvious, Charlton. The $10 million check is on his way. It's all fair and level work. Keep in mind on the mound, the great Sonny Gray and also Brett Anderson from Milwaukee. There's some good old boys. They were doing their thing. Going to fly out of the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Going to fly into Toronto, Canada. I'm going to do one more Michael Jackson impersonation for a Big C Sports podcast. All fair 11 war. The Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Chicago White Sox. Game's already final, of course. But in beautiful Toronto, Canada, we have runners on first and third. The pitch. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. They should have had a movie with Scarface. They should have had Michael Jackson in fear of Scarface. I tell you, there's nothing wrong with the COVID vaccine. I'm all feeling happy and dancing upside the wall. But pay attention on the mound. Carlos Rondon and Henyon Rue, all fair and level war. I really like everything that's going on in the world of Major League Baseball, and everybody's doing their thing. Really appreciate how so many great players are deciding that they're gonna, get their vaccines. Some people don't feel they need vaccines. Whatever they do, they still got to figure it out. Big C Sports Podcast. Even on the COVID vaccine impersonation of Michael Jackson, I do the production. Number 2, directing the topics. Number 3, broadcasting the shows. Number 4, I'm doing the sound effects. Number 5, I do all the commercials outside of what the agency does. I do the stats along with the help of Michael Jackson, the late Michael Jackson, posthumously doing stats with Big C Sports. I do the storytelling. I do Bible verses. I upload to 15 multiple platforms. That's impressive. And 4 TV platforms. You do it. Anyone on television that's receiving millions of dollars from a sponsor, have them do what I'm doing. And see if I've taken 19 different platforms on one show by one black man. And oftentimes you have a lot of these other broadcasters. They have a staff of about 40 people, from research crew, Chiron assists, statisticians, spotters, etc., producers. They all do that. I'm doing it on my own, and I love it, and I'm doing a great job. Even though I feel a little bit, I don't know if they put what they put in that vaccine. All fair and level work. Whatever it was, doctor, you got in that bag. Give me some more, because it's making me feel good. It's all fair and level work. But I feel good today. It's a great day. A lot of kids going back to college. I'm hoping that everybody can stay safe. Just because you're vaccinated, it doesn't mean that you can walk around and not keep yourself safe and not keep the social distancing. You got to make sure you keep doing that, and don't assume that everything's great just because you had a vaccine. If you want something, you got to ask for it. We have not because we ask not, and I want everyone to keep asking for what they want. I want to spend a little bit more time on what happens in the world of football. Now, NFL proposes testing players every 7 days amid the COVID-19 surge. They're saying there's a surge that's going on. And really what my doctor told me too, he said, Charlton, man, just get the vaccine. Because as a doctor, or the first responders, they're the ones that respond to people when they get sick. They're the ones that respond to people when they show up in the hospital and they need help. And they're saying, what can you do what can you do to help me, doc? And doctors often say, we have you get to listen to your medical doctors. Even people who don't believe in doctors and people who don't believe in science, or they may have some type of religious belief, when they get sick, they don't take them to the church. They take them to the doctor. And then doctors say, if we cut down on people being ignorant, then we can cut down on hospitalizations. And I guess he was talking to me also, because I took the advice and I heeded what he said and I got the vaccine. So the NFL has proposed increasing its COVID-19 testing for vaccinated players as cases surge around the country and multiple teams deal with case clusters, have sidelined prominent players and coaches this summer. Think about that, people. The league wants to move testing for vaccinated players to once every 7 days, from once every 14 days. Now, the NFL General Counsel, they've said that Thursday in a media briefing today, players who are not fully vaccinated, they will continue to be tested daily. The proposal requires approval from the NFL Players Association, and so that's something that people got to pay attention to. I know some guys don't want to go get tested with the vaccine. Some people have their own religious beliefs, and whatever that may be. But for you kids going back to college, that's when people start fraternizing and interacting with people that they haven't seen and maybe met for the first time that come from different parts of the country. But you got to make sure that you are on top of what's going on, because your health depends on it. And like he was telling me today, this Delta variant is supposed to be a little bit more meat on the bones, if that makes sense to you. Not like the meat on the Big C burger, the exotic burger that tastes great. But there's a Buffalo Bills receiver, Isaiah McKenzie, and Cole Beasley, they were fined for COVID-19 protocols. Now, the Buffalo Bills, they're a good team, but they disclosed that they were fined for violating NFL's COVID-19 protocols. McKenzie tweeted out a picture of the letter he was sent by the NFL detailing multiple documented violations of the protocol. And then a subsequent tweet, he was fined $14,000, which is not a lot for an NFL player, but that money could have been given to schools for computers. Think about this. Beasley did not disclose how much he was fined, only saying that he was disciplined for not wearing a mask. Literally 5 steps from the entry of the door of the locker room wearing it. I was looking for media credentials for the 49ers. And I don't have my vaccine at that time, so I was, I just couldn't go. No matter how much I've done in TV and radio over the years, I was covering the 49ers way back in 1996. They still said so. They didn't care. You gotta have a vaccine. Like a driver's license registration, you gotta have a vaccine card. I have one now in my wallet. So I just want people to keep in mind, under the NFL protocol, there are players who are deciding that they're gonna do things their own way, irrespective of what the league says. At the same time, the season kicks off, I believe, on September the 4th. There'll be players who will not be able to play, and rumor has it, if a team can't field enough players, then they'll be fined. Now, what I was just telling you about in my own situation, restricting media access in locker rooms said up to 50 vaccinated team staffers are allowed. Only 50. That's not a lot. You have 32 teams in the league. You have reporters that come from all over, local media, whenever I'm in the Bay Area or Los Angeles or Miami or wherever I am covering sports. The NFL has mandated that only fully vaccinated personnel with a maximum of 50 people will have access to locker rooms while players are present on game days. And a memo sent to 32 teams and obtained by the Associated Press. the policy becomes effective immediately, and the personnel covered by the policy includes coaches, athletic trainers, equipment staffers, and 1 general manager, 1 team security representative, and 3 club communication media workers and clubhouse support staff. That's important because that affects people like myself. If you want to get live updates and interviews from people, you got to have access to the players. But if you don't have access to the media, then you just can't get in. They won't let you in. So that's why I love the fact that I also got my vaccine today. I've had a lot of fun with it. I haven't had any reactions to it. I mean, I barely felt that I even got a needle prick. I mean, it was as smooth as the taste from the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? It was as smooth as eating the Big C burger. I'm also going to talk to some sponsors in Napa, California about sponsoring Big C wine. It's a tasty wine, and it comes with tasty grapes. What's all these exotic grapes? It's going to come with exotic grapes, especially with the resveratrol, because it's good for you, according to all the people that are good to you. Got to make sure that we do that. I want to just bring up this one thing that I think is important also, as we'll cover some college football. You know, college football is actually about to kick off this Saturday. It's a lot sooner than I thought it was. There's already a schedule out for college football. It kicks off Saturday on August 28th. So there are schools going back, you know, people are going back to school this week, and most campuses around the country will have students on campus. I think Notre Dame starts late and some other schools start late. But we have a couple of college football games coming up Saturday, August 28th. Kickoff. Are you ready for the football? Yes, they are. Nebraska will be at Illinois, so that 2 Big Ten teams. It's going to be on Fox Sports at Memorial Stadium in Champaign, Illinois. So I'm wishing them the best, how they deal with players and fan attendance at a beautiful place to watch a football in Champaign, Illinois. And then out on the West Coast, UConn is flying all across the country. They're going to be at Fresno State. It's 11 a.m. kickoff on CBS Sports Net at Bulldog Stadium in beautiful Fresno, California. So the Bulldogs, the pride of the Central Valley, and they have a team that's going to play UCLA this year. Also, I think they're playing Oregon. So this is it's the game they cannot overlook with UConn flying across the country. So looking forward to what happens with Bulldog football in Fresno, California, out of the Mountain West Conference. Also, Hawaii out of the Mountain West. They're going to be at UCLA. It's a 12:30 p.m. kickoff on ESPN at the beautiful Rose Bowl in Pasadena, the granddaddy of them all. That game is going to be played on a beautiful Saturday in Southern California at the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all. That's a game for Chip Kelly to show the whole country how ready UCLA is to climb that mountain of the Pac-12 South and compete for a Pac-12 title. Also, another game that kicks off on Saturday is UTEP, University of Texas El Paso. They're going to be at New Mexico State University. That's a 6:30 p.m. kickoff, and it's only going to be on local television. It's at Aggie Memorial Stadium down in Las Cruces, New Mexico. So I wish those guys nothing but the best. And then we have another game. It's going to be played on Saturday. It's Southern Utah Thunderbirds. They're going to be on the road. The Southern Utah Thunderbirds. Think about that. Southern Utah Thunderbirds. They're at San Jose State University in beautiful San Jose. And they're the defending Mountain West Conference champions with along Fresno State, Boise State, Nevada, UNLV, Hawaii, San Diego State, etc. So San Jose State, home of the former Steve Clarkson, who's a great athlete. He runs a quarterback camp. I believe San Jose State won the first California Raisin Bowl back in 1980. And I think they beat Toledo out of the Mid-American Conference, but I'm not 100% sure. That game's going to be at CEFCU Stadium in beautiful San Jose, California, and that's going to be played on Saturday in San Jose at 7 o'clock p.m. That's the kickoff. And then coming up on Wednesday, there's another game, University of Alabama at Jacksonville State. And then going into next week, that's when all the big boys are playing, from Temple at Rutgers. And you're going to have Boise State at University of Central Florida. And there's just a lot of other programs around the country that are going to be playing that I look forward to college football. But this Saturday, for a lot of kids that want to see where they stand or where their university stands, you'll be able to watch them on TV coming up this Saturday. So get up early, get your popcorn ready, as a lot of people say. Make sure you talk to your doctors about whatever COVID vaccine shot. If you got to get that done, you want to make sure that your medical is up to par, up to date. You don't want to go in there hoping and believing that you're going to be okay. Sometimes just go ahead and see the doctor. That's what I did today with Big C Sports Podcast, making sure that I did that. My doctor's very happy with that. All my other numbers are very good. But at the same time, I was just getting all the research I could. And I was telling everybody I want to talk to my doctor for my checkup. I did that. I got my vaccine. I feel fine. And I have no personality changes. Some people might have said that Michael Jackson was doing the play-by-play for baseball. Dead deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. I mean, I can't confirm or not. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm the same person all the time. But it's all fair, love, and war, having fun. But at the same time, I really appreciate. I want to pay homage to my loved ones as I close out. The reason I am who I am, on my mother's side, Mamo, called her Hattie Leach, called her Mamo. And then my great-grandfather, Pop. My grandmother called her Madia. And then my mother, Bernice, on my father's side, my grandfather, Albert Curry. And my grandmother, Alberta Curry, and my father, Everett. That's part of why I'm Big C Sports today, thanking all my family and friends. You know, my family, my wife and children. And I really believe that Big C Sports will become a billion-dollar corporation. Google Title VII. If you're a minority-owned business, you have a right to the $15 billion package that's out there. Mainstream's not going to tell you. You got to do your own research. I already got my EIN numbers all set up. I've already applied for the funding, and it's happening as we speak, so I really appreciate that. Go out and start your own podcast. You don't have to beg people for work. You just got to know your stuff and do your best. And again, I do it all my own. Espy nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I'm flying solo like a B-52 bomber. I'm the only one in the pilot seat. I don't have a lot of people cooks in the kitchen. Again, it's time! Welcome to the show. I do all of that. I produce, number one. Number two, direct the topics. Number three, I broadcast the show. Number four, I do all the sound effects for Big C Sports Podcast. I do that on my own outside of what the agency does with commercials. I do commercials. I provide stats. That's number 6. Number 7, I do the storytelling. Number 8, I quote Bible verses. You got to do it. Matthew 7:7. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. I upload to 15 different podcast platforms and 4 television platforms. That's one black man at the #1 sports show in the universe. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown, known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, you rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? As my mama always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. You can follow Big C Sports every Monday through Friday at 5 or 6 p.m. worldwide on the #1 sports show in the universe. And as we always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.